chair of the session, Professor Dattesh Parulekar, Rear Admiral Arjun De Nair, Commodore Vijay Khare, my dear colleague, fellow Angadurai, Pradeep Chakraborty, Major General Ashok Kumarji, the DG St. George, my student who did it this role to invite me here, Manjit Das, who did it the master in our college, and dear colleagues, dear students and friends. It gives me great pleasure to be here to take you back to recall the memory, the contribution of Chhatrapati Shivaji Maharaj, his contribution for naval capability. In fact, it is very difficult to use or theorize this great man's thoughts in contemporary time. If you did any mistake, it would be disaster in your life as well as everything. So, with taking this kind of effort, in fact, why Mohan Das invited me, 8 years back I started in my department a very unique program to understand that Chhatrapati Shivaji Maharaj vision and nation building. That is the first time I developed a postgraduate diploma course to understand Chhatrapati Shivaji Maharaj, his war strategy, his administration, his thinking about naval capability. Then recently, again, when I got a good response from across the different universities, I started unique program on dedicated to only on Chhatrapati Shivaji Maharaj, MA program on Chhatrapati Shivaji Maharaj vision and nation building. So in that context, this program we are running, and most of the even international students are taking that course, and I'm very happy that in continuing that, I'm just going to speak about how Chhatrapati Shivaji Maharaj is important in present time. Before going to his thought, I just briefly divided his contribution in three phases. First page would be his life is around up to 1630 to the 1680, but the first phase, which is very important during the 1645 to 1660, he used the theory called policy of defensive expansion. You all aware that compared to Western kings and compared to Chhatrapati Shivaji Maharaj, he comes from very different area. His area was controlled only in the Pune district, very few districts covered. But during that time, he mobilized his forces, and during first battle with Purandar, is a place near to Pune, 1648, 1655 Battle of Vai, and 1658 Battle of Kalyan. These three battles, he won it and he mobilized his forces. Then second is the policy of defense offensive, where in the period is called 1660 to 1670, and third is totally offensive policy, which 1670 to 1680. So this is the three important phases need to understand understand the Chhatrapati Shivaji Maharaj and his contribution in naval capability. In fact, last couple of years or few decades, when you ask any strategic thinker or any strategic think tanks to understand the geopolitics, international relations, and defense and strategic studies, they refer three important theories. One particular talks about Mackinder's heart and theory, talks about importance of land power. Then second theory talks of E.T. Mahan, who talks about the sea power. And third is a duet air power or space technology. So one talked about the space technology, one talks about land power, and one talks about the sea power. And comparing the land power theory, but sea power theory, what A.T. Mahan proposed, the few elements to understand the sea convoy. What was the reason Britishers or United Kingdom dominant across the globe? They used the theory of E.T. Mahan to expanded their kingdom or they extended their capability. There are 6 important elements are important to understand the sea capability, and then what proposed by A.T. Man, and before that what Chhatrapati Shivaji Maharaj proposed that. So I'll just compare. First, A.T. Man theory is very important slogan. Who controls sea controls the world. And if you go to Mackenzie's heartland theory, which talks about who controls heartland control the world. And Dweck talks about who control the space, control the technology, the world. And recently, Operation Sindoor taught us how space technology is important. In fact, drone technology is important. Why from last 3 years, Russia and the Ukraine is fighting to each other because of the heartland. And what is important of naval capability? All our earlier experts narrated about that. What A.T. Man talks about, 6 elements. One is the geographical position. Second is the harbor quality and coastline. Third is the extent of territory. Fourth is the size of population. Fifth is the national character. And sixth, the character of and policy of government. These are the 6 important characters to understand to develop a naval capability, and he propagated this theory in 1890, and that was the time Britishers took that gist and they controlled the naval through the naval capability across the globe. Now, come to the Chhatrapati Shivaji Maharaj, his vision about naval capability. Chhatrapati Shivaji Maharaj is widely regarded as the father of Indian Navy. He played important role, and there is a key aspect of his vision, particularly strategic vision and fleet composition and innovation. This is the first key important aspect to understand Chhatrapati Shivaji Maharaj. It's very easy for us to see the present maritime security environment. But look, go back 200 centuries back and 300 centuries back, what was our tradition? Sir has rightly pointed out there, even in a navy or even in a maritime area, very lower caste people, they used to be navigated the sea. I have gone through the literature. If you read the Manusmriti, and in Manusmriti verses, chapter 3, verses 158, Manusmriti says that if you cross the sea, that would be a ban, particularly Brahmin preachers community. They cannot have a rituals, and that was a problem. In our, Sir rightly pointed out, there was a superstition as well as a different caste culture, and that was the tradition we had, and we missed that gap. Earlier during the Ashoka period, we were up to all different places, but due to the in between, we missed the line, and during Chhatrapati Shivaji Maharaj, it was very difficult for him to mobilize such things. But he started a new thinking that we call it a strategic vision, and he developed a fleet composition and innovation, including his navy was diverse, including smaller, agile warships, using tactics like guerrilla warfare at the sea. Now, we are talking about the piracy. What is that? No, the piracy, they use the technique of guerrilla technique. But during Chhatrapati Shivaji Maharaj, he used guerrilla warfare at sea, that kind of technique, hit and run, and other technique he has developed. Second key aspect, strategic fortification and bases. He built and fortified a network, coastal and island forts. If you go to Mumbai and Maharashtra, you will find, and you must go and visit the Sindhudurg, Vijay and Suvarnadurg. He built that forts in water, and that forts played an important role for developing his naval capability. This forts critical for quick sorties and safe harbors. Now we are talking about modern technology, but he laid down the foundation. Then third important aspect is naval administration. Now we have a different ranking system, but he developed the ranking system. to counter Dutch and others. And he has developed unique administration, that is a fort garrison chief, that is a Havaldar, then subnis, accountant, and Karkhanis, commissioner head. So that's kind of structure he has developed for the naval administration. Then fourth is the combat tactics and successes. Shivaji Navy focused on controlling the Konkan coast. That is without going physical there, it is difficult to understand. But he tried to maintain that coastal area for interpreting enemy's vessels and conducting raids. Go to the Siddhi and Siddhi of Jandira, that was the fort controlled by Siddhi Johar, but he attacked on that and he controlled them. Then use of local and foreign expertise. Now we are talking about Atmanirbhar Bharat, but he used the local people to manufacture the vessels as well as the ships and machineries, and also used the Portuguese. And when Portuguese helped to him, there was a call from Vasai church-based father that why you are supporting to the Chhatrapati Shivaji Maharaj, it would be counter back to us. Then those people supported to manufacturing the vessels, they withdraw their support. But before that, he used the technique of the Portuguese and Dutch how to develop the ship. To benefit from advanced naval knowledge of weapons, he tried to get information from others, and his legacy is formally recognized modern India, and his strategy stood it for their innovative use of naval power. And this is very important. Then I said for local indigenous development, he used the local resources and skills artisans. That is an important legacy. And Maritime Navy became a formidable coastal force. In fact, design and innovation is very important. What is relevance of Chhatrapati Shivaji Maharaj in today? First is the securing Indian Ocean region, because we are getting that legacy. Second, countering piracy, smuggling, and naval threats. Third, importance of self-reliant shipbuilding, we call it Atma Bharat, and strategic learning, what we can learn from his thinking, that is a indigenous defense capability, build local, think global. Then second is a multi-layered security, land, sea, and intelligence integration. In fact, most of the kings, they focused on land-based warfare, but the first kind of strategist like Chhatrapati Shivaji, who talks about land-based as well as the water-based and the coastal-based. And today we are talking blue economy, but he also talked about maritime economy, who supported to trade, support to use of naval power to trade, and his relevance, his contribution is very important. Why we are calling him as the father of naval Indian Navy, and this is why it is necessary to understand, revisit his thoughts, link with the contemporary issue, and if you link that, you will understand how he made a remarkable contribution, and that was the reason we are calling him as a father of Indian Navy. Thank you.